Gotham Geek Girl here at New York Toy Fair. So happy to be back. I am with the amazing Todd McFarlane. How you doing?
Triple G, how are we going today?
Good, good.
Yeah.
I feel like I just saw you. Time is just flying. San Diego was yesterday, New York Comic-Con tomorrow.
Yeah, it's interesting too because they moved this toy fair to October, right? Where traditionally it's in February, right? So, and I was just asking somebody like, is it? And I'm getting conflicting news, so I'm gonna have to figure it out. That somebody said they signed a 3-year contract, whatever. And I go, oh, so they're gonna. Okay, they got a 3-year contract, but are they going to do it in October every year? Because, as you know, next week is traditionally New York Comic Con. I go, can't have two big sort of geek fests like back to back because there's not enough time, which is why New York Comic Con had to move a week because of this. But then somebody just told me, I don't know if it's true or not, I'm going to have to look, saying there's not going to be a toy fair next year. Then there'll be one in 2025, and then in 2026 it's in New Orleans. I'll see if they knew what they're talking about or whether they had been smoking something. So, but that's the latest that I just heard.
So I remember a really fun conversation we had with my friend Robert Meyer Burnett when we were in San Diego.
Yep.
And you were telling us about your baseball collection.
Yep.
It's extensive. You have like Sammy Sosa's like home run ball.
Yeah. Well, so she just revealed herself not being a comic book geek, or I mean a baseball geek. So what I have was the sort of the pinnacle of the collection is the top 3 home run records for a single season. So Barry Bonds 73 home runs, Mark McGwire 70, and then Sammy Sosa 66. But within that, I also have a bunch of the balls, everything from the Roger Maris 61 record. That was the record that everybody was chasing, McGwire and Sammy Sosa in 1998. Everything from the record being broken from 62 to 70, the ball that was either given to Mark McGwire or I have it. Like if Mark and I put our balls together, we'd have everything from 61 to 70. And then I also have a couple other Sammy Sosa balls, which is the Sammy Sosa 61, because I wanted a ball that was tied to the old Roger Maris record, which was what everybody was doing. And then I have Sammy Sosa's 33rd home run, which people go, why you got that ball? It seems like a weird ball to have, Todd. But it was the 20th home run he hit in a month, which is a major league record. And I think of all the records, that one's going to stand the longest. 20 homers in 30 days, that's like little league stats, right? Nobody's going to do it again. And then I actually bought the McGwire #1 from that season. So I've got like the first and the last one. We put it in a big exhibit and we toured it around all major league ballparks. And next year went to AAA, next year went to AA and whatever else. And I know at the time a lot of people were bugging me, going, why don't you put it in the Hall of Fame? And it was like, because the Hall of Fame told me they get 22,000 people through their doors in 1 year. 22,000. I just took it to Dodger Stadium. We got 28,000 at Dodger Stadium, right? And then we went to the other 29 stadiums. So if you guys are worried about people seeing my collection, we found a way for 3 years for the most amount of people to end up seeing it. But yeah, I'm a geek. I'm a geek.
And sports kind of got you into designing toys. Can you
No.
tell us how that
No.
kind of inspired it?
No, you're wrong. You're wrong on that. So what got me into toys was I had the Spawn comic book, right? So I worked at Marvel, then we went over to started Image Comics, which is the 3rd largest comic company for the last 30 years. Marvel, DC, Image Comics. And I created a character called Spawn. I created him when I was in high school, worked for Marvel and DC, and then when we started, pulled him out of my portfolio and did it. Because Spawn was at the top of the sales charts, not just Image, but in the industry at that point, that people were coming after me saying, hey, let's do some products, right? And I was like, what? Yeah, let's make like pillows and toys and hats. And I'm like, have you read this? Like, it's a guy from the pit of hell. Like, do you know? And you could tell that half of them were like, what'd you just say, right? Because they just thought they could just do some Disney type product. And it was like, no, it's a guy from the pit of hell. But on the toy front, they all came. All the big, obvious companies at that point all came and made their pitch. But I didn't think any of them understood what I thought needed to be done for Spawn. collectively. They knew the toy business. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, but they didn't understand the Spawn business. And what I wanted was to make non-traditional toys and sell them at times in non-traditional places. And when I saw that they weren't going to get it, then the only answer was for me to pick up a phone and go, well, how hard is it to make toys? And so a few phone calls later, I had a couple people go, I'll help you make toys. And we began the toy company, right? So years later, when we started expanding into toys other than Spawn, because that's what drove it for the first couple of years.
Like Kiss,
Yeah,
X-Files.
like Kiss and X-Files, those are the first couple. But then we got into sports, and now sports, I'm like, what are you talking about? That's my vibe, right? So when we got into that, I was able to then do sports figures in a way that nobody had seen before, and sort of changed how that marketplace ended up looking. I mean, you could argue, I'm not saying that egotistically, just factually, that what we did too on the non-sports figures, just action figures as a whole, created a new blueprint of how action figures could look, right? And now, if you walk around this exhibit here at New York Toy Fair, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of figures that have taken that blueprint and said, oh yeah, you can. Literally, the question was, why can't toys look cooler? And the answer is they can. And and now, where when I was starting in the toy business, there was only like 1 or 2 or 3 examples that I was kind of going, man, that's cool. There's now hundreds and hundreds of examples of going, oh my gosh, and that was it. That was my goal, was not only to make good looking toys for my company, but to see if I could set an example to get other companies to just raise the bar of toy making. Like, why not?
Yeah, I remember you were telling us, like with the sports figures, like how making the face sculpt actually look like the person and adding those details, like if they're left-handed or right-handed, like that's important.
Well, it wasn't that it was important, it was that it was obvious, right? So what I may have told you is that we were doing the sports figures, winning awards, and them asking the same question over and over and over. Man, Todd, how do you make them look so realistic? I look at pictures. You can Google, and there's a picture, and then you sculpt. Like it always was weird to me. That's not like, how do you make them look realistic? The question should have been the opposite. Todd, how did they not make them realistic for decades? That's the mystery of toys. Somewhere somebody's gonna have to crack that, because the mystery is, did they not make toys the way that toys can now be made today? And I'm talking about in terms of detail and in terms of like the anatomy and everything. Like, all of that was there decades ago. They just were in the 6-year-old junk it out business. They'll argue that they weren't, but the visual said that they were. So you can argue all you want, but why then was the toy average looking from the eyes? I'm an artist, so I'm really sort of crucial. Why then did it not look good? You could have done what we're doing today, not in my company, but now dozens of others. What we're doing today was doable back then. It's clay. It's clay in a shape. You could have done it decades ago, and you chose not to. Shame on you. So you let a guy like me sort of come in and show you and survive, right? If you had been doing it, there was no opening for a guy like me in my company.
And are there any licenses that you would like to obtain? And do you see yourself getting back into music? Like, I remember you did like the Korn album cover. Do you kind of see yourself bringing any of that back?
Yes, actually, we got a little bit. You can, after the interview, go take a look at. We got some music we're coming back with. We just had a conversation about trying to grab some sort of more current, modern, people that might be a little bit more relevant instead of going to the old classic ones that are in there. But yeah, we'll be doing that. On the big question of, are there any licenses I like to do? I'm sort of a little bit greedy and not at the same time, because what would be perfect for me if my name was God, not Todd, only rhymes with it.
God McFarlane.
Yeah, man, it's frustrating some days. Oh, it's just Todd. To somebody, Mom, you missed it by one letter. It is that I I have this delusional wish that every master toy license of every brand would you sell it to whoever you want, whatever small, big, Fortune 500 company, public company you want, I don't care. But the last paragraph of the contract should say, you get the master toy license, you can do everything in every aisle and everything else, ... McFarlane Toys gets to do one figure of this brand. So it's not that there's a brand, I just would like to do one Marvel and one Transformer and one Star Wars and one, just to say, this is how I would do it, right? Just wink, wink, there it is. And that's it, just because in my head, when I'm looking at brands that I don't have, I'm going, man, I want to make that different than what everybody else has done. And sometimes it's a big jump, and other times it's just a minor jump. But I still would add something that isn't there, hasn't been shown. Yep.
And I got to check out the digital collection.
Yep.
How did that kind of come about, switching into like a digital platform where people can share their collection online and choosing like which figures to kind of use in a digital space?
So let's just sort of pull back and just talk in general terms. I'm in the art business, and this is the piece that I wish people could be in my head, because I see the world maybe slightly different than other people. I'm in the art business. I don't give a damn how people get my art, right? As a proud papa, I just want to show off my art. So if you want to collect it as a comic book, or as a video game, or as a movie, or as a toy, or as a digital piece of artwork, God bless you. I don't care how you get there. So it's another area of art that is a different format, right? And so some people like that format, just like some people like Batman toys, they might not buy Batman comics. Still Batman, both of them, they just like the format of plastic. Others don't collect toys, they like the movies, and they don't buy comic books. And you can do this circle with a lot of big brands. So what I think people don't understand, it's frustrating to me because I just don't want to sort of say what to me is obvious, which is that first off, the world's big. Let me just start there. The world's a big place. There are places on this planet where you buy a $20 toy, the shipping is $130. And that's not a lie. By the time they pay shipping and taxes and everything else, getting to their country, especially if you're on some small island, it's $130. It's a $150 toy that you otherwise, if you were living here, you could buy for $19. So how many toys do you think somebody there can afford? Not a lot, because usually those countries also don't have, big booming economies. So they're not getting a lot of money to start with, and it costs $150. So those people are either locked out of collecting, or you have to give them another way to collect. How about if we give it to you digitally and you download it? You don't have to pay any shipping. You don't have to leave where you're at, and we'll try and give it to you at the same or a fraction of a price, whatever. Now they're in the game collecting, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, okay, I'll give you another example. Forget that example, somebody living in the middle of nowhere. How about if you live in Japan? Thriving economy, lots of people, access to a lot of things. If you live in Tokyo, you may live, and this is true, ladies and gentlemen, you may live in an apartment that is 400 square feet big because they have a lack of space. Okay, how many toys do you think you can collect? How many statues do you think you can collect in a 400 square foot house? Right? You buy 5 toys, that's the size of your refrigerator. Do you want a refrigerator so you can eat, or do you want 5 toys? So they're locked out too. So how can they collect? Digital. So I don't know why people get worked up over digital, right? If you don't like it, then go buy the art version, TV, movies, toys, video games, whatever it is, comic books, I don't care. Go buy what you like. But why are you getting worked up over a format? What do you care? Oh, by the way, give me your bullshit sort of thing about, I don't understand it, you can't hold it, and I need tangible, and I don't understand where there's any value. You don't understand if there's any value. You're talking like an old person now, and usually this is old people. You're talking like an old person now. Because here's what old people, or at least people who think old, here's what. That thing that you're saying you don't get, you don't understand the intrinsic value of it, you do it every single day of your life, and you don't even know it. Give me your phone. Okay. I'm going to go on your phone, and I'm going to look. See that picture? What is that? That picture is what? A picture of what? Your grandson? When you look at that picture, does it put a smile on your face? Of course it does. Does it make you feel good? Of course it does. Is your grandchild here physically? No. Are you holding your grandchild and hugging them? How is that digital image of that grandchild valuable to you? Whatever your answer is right now is the exact same thing with digital art and NFTs. You're doing it, you just don't know. You don't even know you're hip like them, right? So, and oh, by the way, if you don't like something artistically, here's what I've said to every critic in my 40-year span of being in art. Whenever they say something about anything that I do, my answer is exactly the same. Gentle tap to the shoulder, and then the same mantra. Spend your time and your money on things you enjoy. I don't have time for the rest of it. As a matter of fact, not only do I have time, I am disinterested in the rest of it. I don't care why you like something, and I don't care why you dislike something. I'm busy with my own life. I don't even get to control me. So if it was me, my words of wisdom, just buy what you like and walk away from the rest of it. Oh, and by the way, you do that every day. When you go to the grocery store, do you buy one of everything? Of course not. When you go to a big box store, do you buy one of everything? Of course not. You only buy and put in your cart what you like, and you just ignore and walk away from the rest. Do the same with art. Buy the art in the medium at the price with the brands you like, and walk away from the rest. I don't know why you got to type and tell people about like why you're not doing that. Like it's an odd thing for a guy like me that do you know that I don't like Brussels sprouts? Of course not, because I've never fucking written about it. I just don't eat them. I just don't eat them. Problem solved. I don't have to tell the world why. I don't know if anybody's interested. So anyway, that's it. Okay, next question.
I was gonna say, that's true though, because like, let's say like even in this room, like I remember seeing like the digital like presentation, somebody showed me on their phone, and that was kind of like, oh, this is really cool. Like you have an art gallery on your phone.
Yeah, it's 3D.
Yeah.
I mean, in digital 3D, you can walk around it.
Yeah.
And you can turn it, you can spin it, right? So it's not just a photo.
Exactly.
It's actually using that one about the grandchild. It's actually you get to walk around your grandchild and see them from all different angles. So, I mean, there's some fun stuff there, right? So, and we're going to be doing stuff that is you just buy the digital asset because that's all people can get. And then there's people that are interested in both. Well, hey, if I buy the digital, can I get the physical part of it? Or if I get the physical, can I get the digital part of it? So we're going to be doing different combos and seeing which of it sort of makes sense and which doesn't, right? It's just, I mean, everything that we do on a business level is just a continuation of an experiment. And sometimes you get it right and sometimes you get it wrong. No harm, no foul.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Blu-ray. So I can have the physical copy at home when I want to use it, and then I can have the digital copy and share it with people.
Yeah, no, exactly, right? So, I mean, you used to have to go get your cartridge to go play video games, and now you can just download.
Yep.
If you got good internet, you can download. So that kid who had to buy something and ship it for $100 if they didn't have a video game store on the island, if they got good internet, it's a button. And now they're playing Call of Duty where they normally wouldn't have been able to afford playing Call of Duty. Like this is the piece that it's like from a business point of view, people who are creating stuff want as many people to consume their brands as possible. And if it means you got to change or give options to the platform, to the format, so be it. So be it. Look at like, and the thing is like, let's use Batman, who's I think a great example. You can get Batman the animated look. It's cartoony, it's silly, it looks like something maybe kids might like. Lots of adults do too, but I'm saying it's very simple and moms can sort of get their head wrapped around it if their kid's 6. And then there's the animated look, there's the TV look, there's the movie look, There's the video game look. There's the toy look. There's the comic book look. There's the novel look. Like, what are you talking about? There's like 7, 8 different looks of Batman. You don't have to consume them all. Take the one that appeals to you the most and walk away from the others. But I think it's brilliant that they've offered a variety of looks for arguably a different reason for different people at different prices. That's good. Hershey does this every day of their life. You want the big Hershey bar, the medium Hershey bar, the small Hershey bar, or you want the Hershey Kisses. Sometimes we put in a Hershey, like, it's all Hershey. It's all the same chocolate. You just put it in different sizes and shapes at different prices. You, the consumer, choose which one you want, right? Like, this is all, we just offer options and let people pick. That's it. What people seem to get worked up is that if they don't like one of the options, they seem to want to write and tell you about it, right? It's like, it's interesting. Like, we are a funny species. I'll be that kind and leave it at that. So.
Yeah, it's like as long as the artist is profiting and it's not stolen, I feel like that's what's more important.
Well, arguably, I bring it down. Even if the artist isn't profiting, if they're enjoying their life and they're not doing anything illegal. Because, look, I understand people not liking my artwork. I accept that every day of my life. The vast majority of people on the planet are those people. You don't have to like my artwork. I'm with you. What I won't tolerate is that at times people saying that your artwork shouldn't exist. That's censorship. So I understand you personally don't like it, then just get out of the way because the person behind you might, right? But to say it can't exist, no, it can exist. You just don't have to consume it, right? Back to my original one. Spend your time and money on things that you like. You can solve this problem is solvable for every human being. You don't have to ever type on the internet ever again. Just consume the stuff that you enjoy. Like, I don't know why this is a difficult thing here. But anyways.
Yeah, it's like you can like Frank Miller, you can like Jim Lee. They're vastly different, but you can still enjoy both.
Well, I'll keep it simpler because you just put names of people that might know. I'll make it simpler for a wider audience. You can like vanilla ice cream and hate chocolate, or vice versa. Then don't buy the other one. This is all. Look at my life. To some degree, was predicated upon a single commercial. I know people laugh, but it's true. When I was a kid, I saw this commercial over and over and over and over and over. I watched way too much TV, and probably 5-6 times a day that I saw this commercial. And this dude would look at me 6 times a day on TV, and I was young and impressionable. He had this cool hat, and he'd look at me and he would say, "Only you can prevent forest fires." Now, when I was a kid, I actually thought at the beginning he was talking about forest fires. And then I got sophisticated. I got 8. I got 8 years old, and I went, wow, you know what? I don't think Smokey's talking about forest fires. I think he's talking about my life, which is basically, Todd, it's on you, dude. If you don't like it, it's on you. Thanks, Smokey. Done. So yes, if I don't like it, I cannot consume it. If I don't like where I'm living, I can move someplace else. If I don't like the length of my hair, I can cut it. Whatever it is I don't like that I'm in control of, I can fix it. And oh, by the way, if you don't, Todd, if you don't like the length of your hair, and every morning you look in the mirror and you complain about it, that's also on you, because you're the one that can fix this right now, and you choose not to. So shut up, Todd, right? Either do it or accept it. But don't do nothing and bitch about it when you're in charge. Now, I'm not saying that we control every single, but there are certain things, 85%, 95% of our life we control. So don't buy NFTs if you don't like NFTs. Yeah.
And one more quick question.
Do it.
How excited are you that Spawn and Al Simmons are in the new Call of Duty as a playable character?
Super
question I was going to ask, because the Call of Duty community is going.
Are they? Yeah, it just happened on Wednesday, so I haven't really checked back in with the Activision and the Call of Duty dev team that I was working with to see, like, hey, how's it going? Like, how did it work for you?
A lot of stuff
But yeah, you have to. So a couple things here. On some level, anytime you can take your brand, in this case, Spawn is my brand, and attach it to a bigger brand, do it every single time. Do it every time, right? There are people who try to catch on to my coattails because they're a little bit smaller than me, but I get to now go the other way, going, what, Call of Duty? I get to put my hook in it, and they're going to pull me along. You take it every single time, because here's the. Besides, it's cool and it's fun and all those other things, and you're like going, hey, I do Spawn. And they're like, I don't even know what that is. It's in Call of Duty. And they're like, oh, Call of Duty, right? So you get to use words that more people know, right? They have a way bigger community than I'll ever have. But it exposes people to my brand who might not otherwise get exposed to it. So now there might be people in Portugal and Bosnia and Czech Republic and all these places that are now hearing for the very first time this word Spawn or Spam or Prawn or whatever he's called. But he looks cool, or some iteration of him looks cool, or Al Simmons looks cool. And the reason that's valuable, not because I think that they're going to then go run out and buy comic books or toys, which are my two business, but you've planted a seed of the word. So now this is branding. And then what if in a year and a half from now the trailer comes out for the movie and people go, Spawn, isn't that cool guy that was in the video game over there? Like, what? Oh, let me watch that trailer. I'm not saying they're gonna like the trailer. I'm not saying they're gonna go to the movie, but you've got curiosity, and you can build off curiosity. So to me, anytime I can use and have my brand exposed to a new audience, I don't want to keep doing it over and over to the choir, the people who are already coming to the Church of Spawn. I need to get outside the building, and the more I can get outside the building, so the excitement to me on that level is Spawn's going to get introduced to millions of people that literally last week had no idea who he was. I'll take it. We'll see. We'll see. It's on me now. Thanks, Smokey. It's on me to now build upon that and see if I can get value out of it.
I was going to say Michael J. White could come back.
Yeah. Well, in the Call of Duty, they brought Keith David back to do the voice, and to a lot of people who've ever seen the HBO when it first came out and the reruns now, that Keith David is Spawn. Like that voice, every time you hear him talk, even me, even if he's talking about
anything
peanut butter, I hear the voice and I go, it's Spawn talking about peanut butter. So that was kind of cool too. Yeah.
Very, very exciting. Thank you so much, Todd.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me.
Great.